Now, in fact, bring in Sagai Raj, who's joining us live on this broadcast. He's been tracking all the details of the investigation. Sagai, good evening. You heard what Mr. Anil Babu has said. His version, or at least this is what he says, Darshan maintains, is that he has no clue about who the victim is. He wasn't there in the shed when the victim allegedly was assaulted and beaten to death. The police's version is completely different from that.
Absolutely, and advocate is doing his job. Darshan is his client and he is trying to defend him. And we need to understand how the police cracked this particular case. And if you notice, this was an unidentified body on 9th near Kamakshi Palya. Nobody knew who was he, what was he, and why the murder has happened. Someone has dumped the body there. And voluntarily 2 people come forward and surrendered themselves, saying that they have murdered him because they had financial disputes with Renukaswamy. And thereafter, police confiscate their mobiles as a part of their investigation. When police confiscate their mobile, when they see the call records, when they see the calls made by these accused, that's when the police realize that there is a huge network behind him, there is an influential person, there is an actor behind him. And that's when they started to investigate and they remanded these guys inside the police station. And that's when these accused who came forward and confessed, saying that they have done the murder, who took the blame on them, said that yes, it is my brother and my sister-in-law who have done this, but they have asked not to reveal their names. On behest of them, we came here and surrendered themselves in front of police to accept the crime. And thereafter, police goes ahead and collects the circumstantial evidences. What are the circumstantial evidences? Circumstantial evidences are the CCTV footage where they check the vehicle movements, and later on they check the mobile network, they check the call records, the messages shared between Darshan and their associates, as well as the accused who surrendered themselves. So after that, when they come to a conclusion, that's when they arrest a person like Darshan. Arresting a person like Darshan, who is an actor, who has a huge fan following, is not a joke. They have done their homework, they have collected enough evidences against him, and thereafter, when they come to a conclusion, yes, he has involved in murder, and there are enough evidence to prove that Darshan has been arrested, that's when they went to Mysore and arrested him. Now, they are trying to recreate the crime scene. They are trying to collect the statement from all the accused, including Darshan and Pavithra Gowda, involved in this crime, to ensure that everything matches. And talking about Renukaswamy was a fan of Darshan. And remember, this is a plight of a fan who gets murdered by his own idol.
You know, interesting story. There's no doubt about that. And you're right in pointing out that cops most definitely would have done their due diligence before going ahead and arresting a big star like Darshan, knowing full well the consequences of making such a high-profile arrest. Now, based on what Sagai is telling us, this case against Darshan is definitely firming up. The next court hearing, we'll know what kind of evidence really the police has managed to gather. Sagai, thanks very much for joining us. I just want to sum up what Sagai has told us about the kind of allegations right now against Darshan. Very, very serious charges that he faces. And if evidence does build up against him, this is going to be serious trouble that the star finds himself in. The first charge that the police have leveled against him is that he allegedly plotted the murder of Renukaswamy, of the victim. And not just that, Darshan had visited the crime scene. This was a shed in Bengaluru. Remember, the victim was abducted from Chitradurga, brought to Bengaluru, and was kept in a shed along with several of Darshan's henchmen, his alleged aides. Darshan then came to that crime scene, and according to the cops, and they saw call record details to identify that, yes, he was there at that particular spot. According to them, he didn't just come by to see what was happening. He actually thrashed the victim himself, whipped out his belt and beat up the victim, Renukaswamy. He was accompanied, allegedly, by Pavithra Gowda as well in that shed. Then, after that, Darshan paid the henchmen to take the blame as well. Now, he paid them to go ahead and first assault the victim. And then, when he died of the grievous injuries that he had sustained, Darshan allegedly paid 30 lakhs to cover up the murder, to get rid of the body and to get rid of any of the evidence that was seen that he or any of his aides were actually linked to this particular case. 30 lakh rupees was paid with a promise that more money will be given once the trial is completed if Darshan's name doesn't emerge. But clearly his plan went awry. He's now in police custody as the interrogation, the investigation in this particular case is concerned. And with every passing day, as details emerge of this investigation, more murky details are coming out. And one big question remains: what was the motive behind this crime? The allegation is that the victim was murdered in this manner, beaten to death, because he'd put out some messages on social media against Pavithra Gowda, lewd messages allegedly. But for a star who faces endless online trolling, unfortunately it's a part and parcel of what they see online every other day, would they really be triggered by just some messages on social media? That's why questions loom right now. What exactly was the motive behind this crime? And we're going to continue tracking it very, very closely here on India Today. A high-profile case, high-profile names, the who's who of Bengaluru allegedly involved in this murder.